Whole body learning is an approach to teaching music that can be incorporated at any age of learning for any piano or instrumental student, based on the ideas, concepts and approaches of Orff, Delcros and Kadai, as well as research into neuroscience and how the brain learns. These strategies for teaching music are not new. Bringing them together to develop pedagogically sound educational pathways for instrumental and piano teaching is unique. Over the past 25 years, these strategies have been implemented in Forte School of Music in the UK, Australia and New Zealand. Over this time, we have observed that our students have found learning easier and more fun. We've also seen a much more musical outcome and improved oral, rhythmic, performance, improvisation, harmony, and reading skills. In this approach, all the learning happens in the lesson. Even if your students do not practice between lessons, they tend to remember previous learnings because it's embodied. Dr. Bowman states in his paper, Cognition and the Body, Perspectives from Music Education, the mind is inextricably biological and embodied, and what it can know is always grounded in the material and experiential world. This means that if your students haven't embodied the learning in a lesson, they probably won't remember how to do something at home. The traditional approach to instrumental and music education started in the 19th century with advances in paper manufacturing technology. Prior to the 1800s, music was taught by ear, passing on tunes, melodies and harmonies through listening, movement and dance. Paper before the 19th century was a rare and expensive commodity, and not readily available to the general public. The advent of inexpensive paper allowed for easy distribution of printed music. With this came a necessity to actually read the music. For many students, piano lessons have always been about reading the music and playing through reading. Traditional piano lessons were often not commenced until a child was at least 8 years old, because at that age most children can read. Current neurological research has conducted that the music learning factors for the most effective cognitive brain development are starting to learn an instrument before the age of 7, having a weekly lesson from a teacher who has completed some pedagogy training, and the teaching process needs to include singing, moving and reading notation at an age-appropriate level. There should be opportunities for performance and ensemble playing. And the student needs to learn for a minimum of 2 to 3 years. The gold standard is 5 to 7 years of instrumental or piano training. Hence, the overarching philosophy of whole body learning is for children to start learning music from an early age. 4 years of age is the perfect age to commence piano lessons, as the instrument is laid out from low to high. The notes do not have to be pitched, i.e., if you play a C, you get a C. That is, of course, if the piano's in tune. And students can see what they're doing right in front of them. The whole body learning teaching process can be used for students of all ages. Whole body learning starts with listening with purpose, and while your students are purposefully listening, they will use the tools of exploring, singing, moving, playing or improvising. These tools are to explore concepts from the piece being taught. They may be rhythm patterns, pitch contour, dynamic difference, structure, phrasing, harmony, style, texture, articulation, tonality, notation, tempo, or meter and pulse. Dr. Wayne Bowman also states, "The human capacity to use experience from one domain to make sense of another is an extraordinarily potent cognitive resource." So by using, exploring, singing, moving, playing or improvising, students will be able to transfer the learning experienced during the listening with purpose activity to learning at the piano. Listening with purpose also requires something to listen to. This might be a YouTube clip of the piece, or the teacher playing, or even better, a backing track which includes all the musical elements from rhythm, articulation, melody, harmony, dynamics, and the list goes on. Playing with a backing track also ticks many of the requirements for better brain development because students have to musically multitask, play sympathetically, listen for introductions and codas, and many more. And I always say, why play with a metronome when you can have a whole band?